Okay, so hello students, a very warm good afternoon to one and all. Welcome to EduTap and welcome to ARD static series for phase 2. So for phase 2 we have come up with this series. Just let me know that whether my voice is clear and the screen is properly visible to you all. Just comment down regarding whether my voice is clear and the screen is properly visible to you all. Hello Manish, good afternoon. Brijesh, hi Deepak, Avni. Okay, thank you so much. So everything is fine, right? So guys, just like your phase 1, phase 2 mein we will be covering ARD static for phase 2, right? And today the topic which I have picked is crop production and factors affecting crop production. So today first we will be seeing that what is crop production and what are the different factors that are affecting crop production. Now with the lecture I will be telling you that what are the things that you can expect in examination, both for objective and at the end I will be giving you a one question based on this topic whatever we have discussed today, and you can just practice it on your own and you can try to write the answer on your own. Okay, so let's start the video to today's session. But before that I have a request that if you are new to our channel, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as to download this PDF as well as other informative PDF regarding NABARD and NABARD examination. You can join us on our Telegram channel. So everything is clear, right? Shall we move ahead? Okay, so let's begin. So the topic today is crop production. So guys, we know that agriculture is not just about crop production. We know there is livestock, there is forestry, fisheries, all these sectors are also part of agriculture. But if we talk about the major part of agriculture, so that is your crop production, okay? Because we need to achieve food security, and for that we need good crop production. So crop production is basically your production of crops for food and fiber purposes. When farmers are producing the crops for food or fiber purposes, see why the farmers is growing crop, basically to meet the crop requirement, to meet the food demand of non-farming community. We have a non-farming community that they are not directly involved in agriculture, so how their demand for food grains is going to meet up? So that is due to the crop production that the farmers are doing. Clear? So crop production kya hota hai? Basically when we are producing crop, be it your for food purpose or for your fiber purposes. Now if we talk about food purposes, so for animals and for humans, okay? Both for animals and for humans. Animals means the livestock that the farmers is rearing, so for them also we are growing fodder like your berseem, like your napier grass. So that is also a part of crop production. These are also your fodder crops, right, for animals which we are growing. Then if we talk about for humans, so all your cereals, be it your wheat, rice, maize, then your oil seed crops, your sugar crops, your another crops like oil seed crops. So these are all crops that are grown by farmers for human purposes. Clear? Then apart from these crops we have fiber crops also, that is cotton and jute, right? So these fiber crops are grown for meeting the fiber requirement, so that we can extract fiber from these crops, as well as we can make clothes, we can make ropes, we can make bags from these fiber crops. So that is your cotton and jute. Now you can see that how important is crop production, right? So crop production is for meeting the food grain requirement, as well as the fiber crops are grown for the fiber requirement, meeting the fiber requirement. Now if we see the important practices that are followed in crop production, so for every crop we have different practices, but if we see the general practice, if we see the general what are the different steps that are followed in crop production, so that is your preparation of soil. So in every crop the very first step is the preparation of soil, be it your rice crop or be it your wheat crop. Though the preparation of soil can vary, in rice you have to go for puddling, right? In your wheat you have to just go for normal plowing. You can see though the preparation is different in both the crops, but still we have to prepare the soil. So that is the very first step of your crop production. Next we have is sowing of seed. For any crop you have to sow the seed, okay? You have to sow the seed, or you have to sow any vegetative part, that is propagules for growing the crop. So the next step is sowing the seed. The method of seed sowing can differ, okay? Method can be like your broadcasting, For wheat you go for seed drill, for rice you go for transplanting. Method can be different, but if we sum up, the major second step is the sowing of seeds. Next is your irrigation. Now based on water availability of that particular area, for example, if there is a water scarce area, the water is not available, no, water is not sufficient, so there the farmer can go for drip irrigation. So you can see method of irrigation has also changed according to the place, according to the location, right? If we have sufficient water, then farmer can go flooding. Farmer can go for flooding method of irrigation, where the farmers just open the water source and it just allow the water to flow in the field. Clear? So that is irrigation. So irrigation method is also different than that depend upon the condition of the condition or the resources that farmer have. Then we have application of manure, pesticides and fertilizer. Now see, for the growth of crops, we need fertilizer, we need to apply fertilizers. Okay? We need to protect the crop from any kind of pest, be it your disease, be it your weeds, be it your insects. For that we need to spray pesticides. Though the application of pesticide will be different in different crop, because एक ही crop में one disease or one pest will not infect any one crop. So different crop have different pests, so pesticides that we are using for different crop will also vary. Then manure. See guys, manure is the thing that you can use in every crop. Okay? Manure are basically organic waste that are used for improving the nutrient quality of the soil. Then fertilizer. See, if we talk about fertilizer requirement is also varying in the different crops. Like for example, if we take the example of your rice and pulses. Now in rice crop you required heavy nitrogen fertilizer. You need to give nitrogen fertilizer additionally in the rice crop. But if we talk about pulses, here you don't need to give that much amount of nitrogen, because we know pulses are self-sufficient in fixing atmospheric nitrogen and they do not require external support. They do not require much external supply of nitrogen. Clear? So you will see that in different crops fertilizer requirement is also different, but a general step is application of manure, pesticide and fertilizer. Then next step is protecting and harvesting of crops. See, again we have to protect the crop, we have to harvest the crop. Harvesting can be due to by any method. Okay, we can use any method for harvesting the different crops, but at last what we have to do, we need to harvest the crop so that we can take out the economical part and we can use that economical part for further purposes. Next we have is storage and preservation. Now students, again storage condition, whatever storage process we are using, that differ from different crop, but at end what we do, we store that particular crop. Like for example, if we see the moisture requirement of crop, so for food crops, for food grain crops, moisture requirement is 10 to 12%. We need to bring down the moisture to 10 to 12% for storage purposes. If we talk about oilseed crops, so oilseed crops we have to further bring down the moisture to the 7 to 8 or 9%. Okay, you can cross check this. 7 to 8 or 9% we have to bring down the moisture in oilseed crops for storage. Now you can see that we have different crops, they have different cultivation practices, but in general if we see the steps that are used, that are steps of crop production. So we have first preparation of soil, then sowing of seed, irrigation, application of manure, fertilizer, pesticide, then protecting and harvesting the crop, and then storage and preservation of crop. Clear? So these are the general step of crop production. Now let us see the very first step, that is preparation of soil, tillage. Okay, tillage we have discussed so many times. Okay, tillage mein I don't think there is any doubt in tillage, but still we have to discuss this here. So what is tillage? It is physical manipulation of soil, preparation of soil. We are preparing the soil. The very first step is tillage. How we will prepare the soil? By tillage operation, by manipulating the soil, so that we can get good seed bed condition, because next step is sowing of seed. So for sowing of seed, what we need to do? We need to prepare the soil so that there is a good seed bed condition for sowing the seed. Now important thing which you have to remember here is that the word tillage has been derived from Anglo-Saxon word. Okay? This term has been derived from the Anglo-Saxon word. This is important, can be asked in your objective. The word that is tillion or tolian, that is an Anglo-Saxon word which means to plow and prepare the soil for seed to sow, to cultivate and raise crop. So when we are preparing the soil, the term tillage means preparation of soil for sowing, for cultivating or for raising the crop. That is the general meaning of term tillage. Clear? Now Jethro Tull, important, he is considered as father of tillage. Clear? This is another important thing which you have to remember for your objective purposes. And also if there is any subjective question based on tillage, then you can add this thing that that will show the the examiner will come to know that you have the knowledge of this thing also, that Jethro is considered as father of tillage. Clear? Now Jethro is considered father of tillage because he have coined the term tillage. Okay? He has come to coin the term tillage as well as weeds. Weeds are unwanted plant, right? So weeds and tillage, these two terms are coined by your Jethro, and for tillage he is considered as father of tillage. Clear? So this you should know. Then what is tilth? Okay, you might have come across this term tilth. So after tillage operation, the physical condition of that particular soil is known as tilth. Okay, the well pulverized soil. So whenever we have done the tillage operation, the end result of the soil, the end physical condition of that soil is called as tilth. So it is the physical condition of soil obtained after tillage. Clear? So it is the condition of soil. You can consider it as whatever you see the soil after tillage operation, that is called as tilth. Clear? Now, next is objective of tillage. Why we are doing the tillage operation? Why it is important? So basically, first is to control weeds. We have the weeds from previous crop and we need to harvest this weed. We need to control, we need to remove these weeds. So for control of the weed, we are doing tillage operation. Then to aerate the soil. Now what happened after the harvest of previous crop, our soil become more compact. There is less pore space and we need to improve and increase this pore space. So to improve the aeration, we are doing this tillage. Then we are providing adequate seed soil contact so that water can be permitted to seed and seed can absorb the water and can germinate, right? Now to remove hard pan and to increase soil depth, we need to remove hard pan also, because sometimes we need to grow more crops that are that roots go under, they have long roots and they go to the more depth in the soil. So what we need to do, we need to remove this hard pan so that the root growth is not inhibited by this hard pan. Clear? So for these purposes also we are doing tillage. That is also one of the objective of tillage. Clear? So these are the objective of tillage. We have many objectives, but broadly these are the main objective of tillage. Clear? I hope this is clear to you all. Now types of tillage, again we have discussed so many times. Just in the brief way I will be explaining you one by one what is that. So basically, we have different types of tillage and they are classified in different ways. First is based on time. So based on time, at what point of time, before growing of crop or after growing of crop, when we are doing this tillage operation, that is the first basis of classification. So if we are doing tillage operation before sowing our crops, that is called your preparatory cultivation, because first of all we have to prepare the soil, right? The very first thing which we need to do is to prepare the soil. So for that we are doing preparatory cultivation, and this preparatory cultivation include your primary as well as secondary tillage. Okay? Again, primary and secondary tillage we have discussed so many times. Primary tillage is done to break the hard soil. Clear? And after the soil has been broken into the clods, now these clods are further broken down with the help of your secondary tillage, so that we can get the fine seed bed, right? So that is primary tillage and secondary tillage. I hope this is clear to you all. And after cultivation include all your thinning and gap filling, where we are removing the excess plant and we are filling the gaps where the plant density is less, so that optimum plant density can be maintained, right? So the very first is thinning and gap filling. Then earthing up. Earthing up mein what we are doing, we are providing extra soil to the base of the plant for many purposes, like for example support in your for the purpose of support in your sugarcane, in your banana, then for the purpose of adding volume so that there is good growth of tuber in case of potato. So another is earthing up. And next is your first we have earthing up, thinning, gap filling, and I forgot the next one. So weeding and hoeing. Okay? Weeding and hoeing. Again, another after cultivation operation is weeding and hoeing, where we are removing the weeds. Weeding is manual removal with the help of any human, with the help of labor. You are manually removing the weed, that is weeding, and hoeing is with the help of any kind of weeding implement. When you are removing the weeds, that is your hoeing. Clear? So that is comes under your after cultivation. Next we have is based on cropping season. Now in which cropping season we are doing the tillage operation? So again we have on season and off season tillage. Now on season tillage means when we are doing the tillage operation during that particular season. Like for example, if we want to grow a rabi crop like wheat, so for wheat, whatever tillage operation we are doing in Rabi season, that is on season. During that season, we are doing that tillage operation. That is why it is called as on season tillage. Now next we have is off season tillage. Off season tillage is basically practiced in dryland areas. Okay, just remember this is practiced in dryland areas, where we need to break the soil, where we need to aerate the soil. So whenever there is any rainfall, that moisture can be stored in the soil. Okay, we will have the compact soil, that moisture is not going to be stored in the soil. So we need to loosen up the soil so that there is more pore space for the soil moisture conservation. So that is practice. And after the season, after the harvesting of main crop, so off season we are doing the tillage. That is why it is called as off season tillage. Now next we have is conventional and conservation tillage. Conventional tillage means when we are doing all the tillage operation, okay? We are doing all kind of tillage operation, be it your primary, be it your secondary, all the conventional method of tillage when we are following, that is your conventional tillage. And conventional tillage has huge impact on soil health. Now what can happen due to these heavy machineries? Hard pan can be formed, the bulk density of the soil can increase, because we are compacting the soil, bulk density of soil will increase, and we will not have good crop production. So there are many other disadvantages of conventional tillage. So we have to move to the conservation tillage, which means that we have to till the soil to the extent that we are getting good seed bed. Okay, that is we have to minimize the tillage operation, as well as to that extent only we have to till the soil so that we can get good germination condition and our seed can germinate properly. So under minimum tillage, you might have studied, we have also discussed this regarding zero tillage, minimum tillage, stubble tillage and whatnot, right? So that is regarding your conservation tillage. So now I hope the classification of tillage is also clear to you all, right? Chalo. Now that was regarding the first step, that is preparation of soil. Now seed and sowing, we will be we have discussed in the phase 1 that different type of sowing method in sowing method of crop. Then we have after seed sowing we will be moving to the irrigation. So irrigation I will be coming with the lecture where I will be discussing about the different types of irrigation. But now for now let us discuss factors affecting crop production, because it is very important. Okay, if you will get a question, so that write about the how what are the different factors that are affecting crop production, so you can write an answer, as well as there are many things which can be asked in objective as well. So that is why first we will cover this. Okay, now we will cover this, that is factor affecting crop production. Now there are two factors. First is internal factor and next is external factor. So like we humans, okay, there are some internal factors like how we look, what is the color of our hair, what is the height of a person, that is dependent on the internal factor, that is the genetic factor of that person. Okay, so all your genetic or heredity factor, what you have, what genes you have, what genes has been transferred to you from your parents or your ancestor, that is the heredity factor. So which is the internal factor. So similarly in plants also, what will be the height of plant, what is the yield of that particular plant, or how that plant is going to react to any stress. So that all comes under your internal factor. Now one more thing like in human also, some people are more immune to some diseases and some are less immune to some diseases. Similarly in plants also, some plants are resistant to any kind of disease and some do not have that resistance. So that all is because of that this genetic or heredity factor, that is the genetic makeup okay, whatever genes that plant have in it, so that is due to this genetic or heredity factor, that is called internal factor. Clear? Next we have is external factor. External factor means the environment. Now as human, हमारे पास क्या होता है, the friend circle we are in, और जो भी that influences, right? The environment influences, the area where we are living, that influences. ठीक है? So similarly in crop also, because we know crops interact with environment for growth and development. So all that factor, all the environmental factor is external factor, like your climate, how climate is going to affect the crop production. Next, how edaphic factor. Edaphic is basically soil factor, because you are going to sow the crop in the soil ultimately, right? So soil is going to impact the growth and development as well. So that is your edaphic factor. Then biotic factor. Biotic means how plants are interacting with each other, how animals are interacting with plant, how plant is interacting to the animals, that comes under your biotic factor. Then we have physiographic. What is the physiographic condition of that particular area, that particular land, that also affect the crop production. And then we have socioeconomic factor. Okay, what is the land holding of a farmer, what is the socioeconomic condition of that particular farmer, that will decide what kind of crop that farmer is going to produce. Now let us discuss one by one all these factors. Clear? So the very first is your internal factor, that is called genetic or heredity factor. As I've already told you that it is due to the genetic makeup of that particular plant. Okay, now what all characteristics are affected, what all characteristics are based on this genetic factor? So the very first is high yielding ability. Okay, so for example, we have rice crop, and for rice we have two varieties, like for example variety X and variety Y. Now variety X is high yielding, while your variety Y is low yielding. So why there is this difference? This difference is due to the genetic makeup. Okay, due to the genetic difference in genetic makeup of rice variety X and rice variety Y, that is why there is a difference in yield. So that is regarding your first point, that is high yielding ability. Next we have is early maturity. Now there can be a chance that this Y variety is late maturity. ठीक है? This rice variety Y is maturing very late, and this this X variety is late maturity, and your Y variety is early maturity variety. Now what does that mean? Late maturity, early maturity, that means that how early that plant is attaining the maturity. Like for example, the variety X is late maturity, means the variety X is taking more time to mature. Okay, that is why it is called as late maturity variety, because for example it is taking 3 months to mature, and your variety Y is taking only 2 months to mature. So that is why in comparison to the X, Y is your early maturity. Clear? So जितना time उसको maturity में लगता है, that is the maturity time. And similarly this difference in maturity time is also due to the internal factor or genetic factor. Clear? Next we have is resistant to lodging. Now what is lodging? Lodging means whenever how much the plant can withstand the wind force. Like for example, if there is a plant and there is a high wind velocity, or there is a the wind velocity exceed from normal, it can lodge. Lodge means it can fell off. Lodging means felling off. So resistance to lodging, if any plant is resistant to lodging, that is also due to the genetic factor. Like for example, earlier the wheat variety which we have in India, they were not resistant to lodging. They used to lodge, and it is very difficult to harvest these crops, because if we have a fallen crop, so we cannot harvest them properly, as well as there is huge loss of wheat or huge loss in production due to lodging. So we need to induce the resistance, and for wheat also the resistance was induced. New varieties, new genes were introduced, so that now the wheat variety which we have, they are resistant to lodging, and that is due to the genetic makeup again. Then we have drought, flood, or salinity tolerance. So these kind of tolerance which a variety have is again due to their internal factor. Then tolerant to insect, pest, or disease. Like for example, there are two varieties. Now here the variety Y can be resistant to any kind of pest. Now if a farmer has is in the region that has the incidence of particular pest, though the variety Y is low yielding, but though it is resistant, so he can grow that particular variety. So that is due to the genetic makeup again. Then we have chemical composition of grain, like for example what percentage of oil content that have, what is the protein content in that particular variety of that particular crop, that is again due to the genetic makeup. Then quality of grains, like for example we have basmati rice and we have normal rice. So you can see the remarkable difference between the quality of grain with of those two variety, right? Then quality of straw again. Now straw is used for feeding the livestock. So again the quality of straw that have, like for example if we are growing maize, and maize can be used for feeding the livestock. So if any variety of maize, they have sweetness, more sweetness and more juicy content in it, so it will be more favorable for fodder production. So we will be growing that particular maize. Okay, so again that is due to the genetic makeup of that particular variety of maize. Clear? Now I hope this is clear to you how internal factor is, what are the internal factor and what kind of trait are affected by internal factors, that is genetic or hereditary factor. Now we have external, that is environmental factor. Now in your environmental factor we have different factors, like temperature is also affecting crop production, relative amount of relative humidity that is present in that particular region, that is also affecting the crop production. Precipitation means rainfall, precipitation means it can be your rainfall, it can be snow, it can be any form of water that is coming down to the earth, that is your precipitation. Then again it is affecting the crop production. Solar radiation is affecting wind velocity and atmospheric gases. All these things are affecting the crop production. So these are your climatic factor. Okay, just remember this, that under climatic factor these are the different climatic factor that is affecting crop production. Now let us discuss them one by one. The very first is precipitation. Precipitation majorly rainfall. Now if you have if a farmer is in any particular region which is receiving more amount of rainfall, then obviously the farmer will grow that particular crop that can withstand more water condition. Like for example your rice, okay, in heavy and evenly distributed area, rice, tea, coffee, rubber, these can be grown. Okay? And if there is a farmer who is there in a dry land condition or in a desert condition where rainfall is less, then obviously he will grow the crops that can withstand drought condition. Like for example your millets, be it your pearl millets, sorghum, minor millets and so on. Okay? So you have to remember this. Again, total precipitation is in amount and distribution greatly affect the choice of crop. Like for example, as I have given you the example here of heavy rainfall area or low rainfall area. So now here you have to remember that distribution of rainfall is very important again. Okay? It does not matter what amount of rainfall you are getting in that particular area, but distribution is also important, because if you are getting huge amount of rainfall just for 5 to 10 minutes duration in that particular day, so that is not going to help anyway, because that will be it will be not evenly distributed. So it is very important that we are getting even distribution of rainfall. ठीक है, एक ही जगह पे अगर बहुत ज़्यादा rainfall हो जाएगी, that water is going to anyway do the soil erosion. That water is not going to be going to store in the soil. So even distribution and uniform distribution of rainfall is very important. Okay, like here I have told you where the rainfall is heavy as well as evenly distributed. Okay, then only we can grow for this. If we have low and uneven distribution, then we can grow other crops like your millets. Then though the rainfall has major influence, yields are not always directly proportional to the amount of precipitation, as excess above optimum reduce yield. Now we say that it's not like that your yield is directly proportional to precipitation, because sometimes more precipitation can be the reason of low yield. Right? So you have to remember this, that yield is not always directly proportional to precipitation. Though we understand that rainfall is the major source of soil moisture, moisture for the crop production, but still if we have huge rainfall, if we get excess of rainfall, that is that can hamper the crop growth, as well as that can hamper your yield. So you have to remember this thing, as well as another important point, that distribution of rainfall is more important than the total rainfall. Again, I am telling you, distribution of rainfall is more important, that how evenly that rainfall is distributed over a land for a particular period of time, that is more important than the amount of rainfall that is happening. Clear? So these are few important things you have to remember for precipitation. Clear? And how this precipitation can affect your crop production. Next is temperature. Another climatic factor is temperature, and temperature you have to know that different crop have different temperature requirement. That is why we are growing few crops in Kharif season, few crops in Rabi, few crops in Zaid season, because the temperature is different in these season, as well as according to the temperature requirement of different crop, we are growing different crops in these season. Okay? So the range of temperature for maximum growth of most of agriculture plant is between 15 to 40 degrees Celsius. Now guys, this is important. You have to remember that what is the range of temperature that is optimum for major agriculture plants. So that is your 15 to 14 degrees Celsius. Clear? Just note it down this. And the temperature of any place that depend on the distance of that area from your equator, from your distance from equator, because if any region is lying near the equator, obviously the temperature here there will be high, as well as if there is a, as compared to the region which is lying far from the equator. Clear? Then we have germination. For optimum germination of seed, optimum temperature is required, because if there is a temperature fluctuation, if there is a high temperature, again the seed will not be able to germinate, and so same as in case of low temperature. So optimum temperature is also essential for germination, because anyhow if you will get the good germination, then only you will get the good crop production. Clear? Then what is cardinal temperature? So for every crop, the minimum, maximum and optimum temperature is called as cardinal temperature. Like for example, if I take the example of rice, so if we talk about what is the cardinal temperature of rice, so the maximum temperature for rice is 36 to 38 degrees Celsius, minimum is 10 degrees Celsius, and optimum is 32 degrees Celsius. Just remember, cardinal temperature is basically your what is the minimum temperature required by a crop, similarly what is maximum and what is optimum temperature for that particular crop. Now minimum temperature means this rice plant can survive to this temperature, and maximum means that again rice plant can grow up to this temperature at max. If the temperature go beyond this maximum and minimum limit, the plant will die. And optimum means what is the optimum temperature for good production. So we'll get good production if our optimum temperature range remain between 32 degrees Celsius for rice plant. Clear? Similarly, we have cardinal temperature for wheat, maize, sorghum and tobacco. Okay, you can take the screenshot of this, or you can download the PDF later, and these are very important. Okay, can be directly asked in exam that what is the optimum temperature for rice or wheat or so on. Minimum and maximum can be asked. Clear? Chalo, so that was about your temperature. Now let's move on to the atmospheric humidity. Now humidity has also its huge role in crop production. Okay? Humidity क्या होती है? Basically humidity is amount of water vapor that is present in the atmosphere. So it is in the form of invisible water vapor. Whatever the moisture that is present in atmosphere, that is your humidity. Now we have a term that is relative humidity. Guys, you have to remember, you have to know that what is the meaning of relative humidity, because it is asked in exam. So basically relative humidity is the ratio between amount of moisture present in the air to the saturation capacity. Saturation capacity means when we have 100% humidity. Like for example, I am in this room, and this room is filled with, this room is 100% saturated with water vapor. Means now there is no scope of adding more water to this room. Like so that is your 100% saturation, and that is called 100% saturation capacity in terms of relative humidity. Clear? So अब क्या होगा? At this point there will be no evaporation. Evaporation में क्या होता है? In evaporation the water is converting into from liquid to vapor form, right? Now if I have 100% vapor in this room, so now no more water will be converted into the vapor form, and the this process of evaporation will stop. Clear? So that is called 100% capacity, that is called 100% saturation capacity of relative humidity, when no more water vapor can be further added to the air. So if we take out the ratio between 100%, when the relative humidity, amount of moisture that is present in air at saturation capacity, so whatever amount is present at saturation capacity, that is at 100%, and whatever we are comparing to at that particular time, so that ratio is your relative humidity. Clear? So relative humidity 100 means that entire space is filled with water and there is no evaporation and plants transpiration. Now you can see that relative humidity is also affecting plant transpiration process, because if there will be less relative humidity, what will happen? The plant will transpire more, because there will be transpiration process will exceed, more transpiration will be there, more loss of water will be there, and plant need to absorb more water from the soil. And on the other hand, what will happen if there is more relative humidity? There will be no transpiration process, and there will be a stage that plant will not be able to transpire the water from the stomata, and that can lead to other problems in plants, right? So that is why we need to maintain optimum relative humidity as well, and that optimum relative humidity is 40 to 60% suitable, 60% for most of the agriculture crops. Clear? Now, as I have already told you how relative humidity affect the water requirement, that I have already explained, and very few crops can perform at the relative humidity of more than 80%. You have to remember for major crop it is 40 to 60%, very important to know. Clear? Chalo. Rahul, for now I'll just keep your query aside and I'll be talking to you after just finishing this lecture, because I have to read and then think what I have to reply, and it will take some time. So first let me just finish this lecture and then I'll reply to your query. Okay, chalo. Next we have is solar radiation. Now other important climatic factor is your solar radiation. So it control the distribution of temperature. So amount of solar radiation that a region is receiving is also controlling the temperature, because if solar radiation is more like in the places near the equator, temperature there will be high, and similar, and so for the places far from the equator, solar radiation received by these area are less, so their temperature will be less, right? Now the visible range, that is the photosynthetic active radiation, that is between 0.4 to 0.7 micron or 400 to 700 nanometer is very important. We have seen that because the photosynthesis in plant occur in this visible range. Okay, that is known as photosynthetically active radiation. This is also important to know because this can be asked in your objective as well. Now based on this we have photoperiodism. Photoperiodism means how the plant is reacting to the incoming solar radiation, and we know that we have short day plant, based on that long day and day neutral plant. So based on the time duration of solar radiation that a particular crop is receiving, we have short day plant, long day plant and day neutral. Short day plant require day length less than 12 hours, like all your kharif crops, right? Then most of your kharif crop, we cannot say all because some can lie in your day neutral condition, but most of your kharif crops. Then for long day, the day length required is more than 12 hours, like most of your rabi crops. And day neutral means they do not, there is no effect of solar radiation in these crops. So there is no influence of day length in such crops. So that is why it comes under day neutral condition. Clear? So I hope this is also clear how solar radiation is affecting your crop production. Now you can see that solar radiation is determining that which crop you are growing in particular season. Like in kharif season, you are growing short day crop because ultimately the flowering will be in the short day, in short days, like in your winters, and you will be harvesting in the short day plants. So इसीलिए आप उसको कब करते हो? You have to sow them into the long day duration. Clear? चलो. Next we have is wind velocity. Now wind velocity is also another important climatic factor that is affecting your crop production. How? Because moving wind supplies moisture, heat and also carbon dioxide. We know that plant require carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. So the wind velocity also provide this carbon dioxide to the plant. It takes that carbon dioxide to the plant, right? So all moisture also, heat also, that is all regulated with the help of wind velocity. Optimum wind velocity is 4 to 6 km per hour. Again, a very important thing to note here, that optimum wind velocity should be 4 to 6 km per hour. Now, as I was talking about the lodging, if any plant is not resistant to lodging and the wind velocity in that particular area exceeds, so what will happen? That plant will fall off. Okay, that crop will fall off, and it will it will affect the crop productivity production. So optimum wind velocity is also required. Now if we have any region where we have high wind velocity, so we cannot stop wind, ठीक है, हम हवा को तो नहीं रोक सकते, but we can grow the crops which can withstand that wind velocity. So you can see that wind velocity is also affecting the type of crop that a farmer is growing, right? Chalo, when wind speed is enormous, then there is mechanical damage to the crop. Obviously, if there will be high wind velocity, we have seen that during storm, during high wind velocity, what happened? The plant break down. ठीक है? तो क्या हो सकता है? Mechanical damage can happen. It can remove the leaves, it can remove twigs, and can damage plants like your banana and sugarcane. Especially these crops which do not, which do not have hard structure like your banana and sugarcane, these crops can lodge due to high wind velocity. Clear? Now wind also help in dispersal of pollens and seeds. ठीक है, आपके जो pollens distribution है, that is also that is also supplemented with this wind velocity, because जितनी अगर अच्छा wind velocity होगा, normal wind velocity होगी, there will be good pollen distribution also, right? So that is how your wind velocity is affecting crop production. Next is composition of atmosphere. Now atmosphere is the mixture of all the different kind of gases, right? And these gases have the effect on crop growth and production. We know that because CO2 is important for photosynthesis. Similarly, oxygen is required by the plants as well as animals. Then nitrogen, we know that through nitrogen cycle we are replenishing the nitrogen content in the soil, that is taken up by the plant again. Clear? So we can see that how these gases are affecting crop production. Then if we talk about the composition of atmosphere, so nitrogen is highest present, that is 78.09%. Then we are followed by oxygen, which is 20.95%. Now these composition can be asked in exam, so you have to know about this. If not, if there is a question regarding something like factor affecting crop production, so if you will provide few data, that will be good for your answer. ठीक है? चलो. Next we have edaphic factor. Now climatic factor are closed. Now we have to discuss edaphic factor. Edaphic factor means the soil factor. So edaphic means influenced by soil. Similarly, we have a under soil science we study edaphology. Edaphology means how the soil is interacting with the plants. That is the edaphology. How soil is influencing the production of crops, production of plants. That is edaphology. Clear? And it is derived from a Greek word edaphos. Just remember, soil factors are called edaphic factors. Clear? Chalo. So first is soil moisture. So how soil moisture is going to affect crop plant? We know that water requirement of the plant is going to be fulfilled by soil moisture, whatever the moisture is present in the soil. So we have few terms to remember here. That first is saturation. So saturation is that condition where all our micro as well as macro pores are filled. Clear? So that condition is called as saturation condition. At saturation condition, what will happen? The macro pores will start draining, okay, and then there will be a field capacity where we have 100% water which is present in your capillary pores, and this water is available for the plants. Then after field capacity, we have maximum allowable depletion. Maximum allowable depletion means we have 100% water that is present in capillary pores, and now the plant will extract water from these capillary pores. What will happen? A stage will come that this 100% will decrease to 40 to 50%. Only 40 to 50% water is present in the soil. Now this is called maximum allowable depletion, and we need, only need, farmer only want to deplete the soil moisture to this extent. After that, what the farmer should do? He should apply moisture to the soil. He should do irrigation, because if this will further if this will further continue, it can lead to the permanent wilting point where the plant can wilt. ठीक है. Now we have permanent wilting point and ultimate wilting point. So the difference here is that at permanent wilting point the plant will wilt, but again it will regain its position. ठीक है, it will regain its turgidity after supplying the irrigation. But that is not the case in ultimate wilting point, because here the plant will wilt and die. If you will provide the irrigation after ultimate wilting point, the plant is not going to withstand again. ठीक है. So the plant is not going to stand again. ठीक है, it will not going to regain its turgidity. So that is your ultimate wilting point. Clear? So important thing to note here is that the moisture range between field capacity and permanent wilting point, that is known as available water capacity. Clear? So available water capacity means water that is available for the plants. Clear? Chalo, next we have is soil air. Now soil air is also very important, because soil have three constituents, that is soil solids, water and air. And इनका जो composition है, that is very important for good crop production, because the amount of air, amount of water, amount of soil solid that is present in the soil is going to affect the root growth and development. Like for example, if we see ideal soil condition for crop growth, then we should have 50% soil solid, 25% water and 25% air. So this is the ideal condition where plant will grow easily and it will produce more yield, right? But if we see compacted soil, in compacted soil, soil solid space is more, because it has been compacted. There is less pore space for water as well as air. Okay, there you can see air has been extracted out, because with compression what will happen, all the air will come out from the soil, and water is 25%. So this is the condition of compacted soil. Now next we have is poorly drained soil. In poorly drained soil, what we will have more water content. Okay? That is also again not favorable, because what can happen, this water can, this water will not allow root to respire. So optimum ratio of your soil solid, water as well as air should be maintained for good crop condition. Clear? So this is regarding your soil air. I hope this is clear to you. And soil air is very important for germination purposes, because germination, if there is no aerations, germination will be inhibited. Okay? Similarly, all the microorganisms that are living in the soil, they require soil. They require soil air for the proper growth, for proper decomposition of soil organic matter. Okay? So these are the few things regarding your soil air. Just note down these important, just read these important point at your end. Okay? So again, important thing here is that in sandy soil, okay, there is 25% soil air is 25% or more. Loamy soil may it is 15 to 20%, while 20% in clay soil. Okay? Loamy soil may it is 15% soil pore space, and in clay soil it is 20%. Clear? Chalo. Next is soil temperature. Now another important graphic factor is soil temperature. Again, the temperature of soil is going to hamper the crop growth and germination as well. So whatever microorganism which we have in soil, they can perform at its optimum again at good soil temperature. Okay? So it influence rate of absorption as well as absorption of solute from the soil by the plants. Okay? Again, germination is also affected by temperature. All the microbial activities, they are affected by the soil temperature. So soil temperature is also a factor that is affecting your crop growth and development. Next we have is soil mineral matter. Now what is soil mineral matter? So it is the mineral matter from which the soil is being made, soil is made up of. That is the soil mineral matter, and you can see 45% in the soil we have soil mineral particles. So mineral particles, they are the predominant components of mineral soil. Mineral soil means where organic matter is less and your soil is completely made up of any kind of mineral. ठीक है? तो mineral soil मतलब जो mineral से बनी हुई है. Organic soil means जहाँ पे organic content is more, right? चलो. Now it is made up of number of particles that vary in shape, size and chemical composition. So mostly we have sand, silt and clay. ठीक है? जो हमारे mineral matter है, that is divided into sand, silt and clay. ठीक है? Which are the main mineral particle, and they are collectively called as soil separates. ठीक है? Now they are sand, silt and clay, they are collectively called as soil separates, and again they are aggregated. They are aggregated in the soil, and these natural aggregates are known as PEDs. Okay, they are known as PEDs or aggregate, very important to know. Now naturally, if the soil is aggregated and there is any aggregation which is found naturally, that is called PED again. And when we call it as a clod, so after tillage operation, the aggregate that are formed after tillage operation, they are called as clods. Okay, this is the general difference between your natural aggregates that are PEDs and artificially formed through tillage operation, through any physical manipulation, they are called clods. Clear? So that is regarding your soil mineral matter. Now what the soil texture will be, what will be the soil texture? That will again be influenced by your soil mineral matter. If any soil will have more sandy composition, so again the soil is going to be sandy soil, there will be less water retention, okay, nutrient retention will be also less, and you can see that in sandy soil most of the crop cannot grow easily, right? If we have clay soil, in clay soil moisture content is again very high, but the crops that cannot withstand more moisture content, more moisture content, they cannot be grown in clay soil. So just remember these important points, that how soil mineral matter is affecting crop production. Then we have soil organic matter, very important. I don't think there is a need to explain why soil organic matter is important, okay, because it is important in various ways. Again, all the microorganisms, they get food from this organic matter. First of all, these microorganisms decompose this organic matter and release all the minerals, right? And these minerals are very important again for the crop growth and production, because plant is anyhow getting nutrient from this organic matter. Clear? So again, your soil organic matter is important for your both physical, chemical, as well as your chemical and physical biological activity of soil. So biological activity include all your microorganism activity. Chemical means all the cation exchange, that are cation exchange, nutrient supply, so all that is affected by again soil organic matter. And physical means what is the physical structure of the soil, that is again affected by your soil organic matter. Clear? Chalo. Then soil organism. Now all the organism that is present in the soil, they are again very important, because we know about earthworms, right? And earthworms are called farmer's friend, because why? They are helpful in decomposition, as well as they are helpful in providing more air space in the soil. So there are different kind of microorganisms that is present in the soil. Now it is not like that these organisms are always helpful for the farmers, okay, like your earthworm, but there are some nematodes also that are found in the soil, and that can hamper your crop growth. So both positive and negative kind of organism can be there, okay. There can be some organisms which are affecting the crop. They are affecting the crop, they are feeding on the crop root, as well as what they are doing, they are hampering the crop growth. But there are some useful microorganisms like earthworm also, that are helping in improving soil aeration as well as crop production. Clear? So this is regarding your soil organism. Next is soil pH. Okay? This is soil pH. So what is pH? pH is basically hydrogen ion concentration. It means it is a hydrogen ion activity. What is the concentration of hydrogen ion in your particular soil? Now pH is another very important thing, because it is going to affect the chemical property of the soil. So because all the nutrients are available at different pH, okay? Different nutrients are available at different pH, and we need to have optimum pH for particular crop, okay? So it is generally, the soil generally range from extremely acidic to pH 3 to alkaline, that is pH 10. Clear? If we talk about neutral, so soil pH affect crop growth, and neutral soil with pH 7 are best. Okay? Neutral pH is considered best for most of the crop production, and pH is going to affect the different crops, different nutrient uptake by nutrient uptake of different nutrients. Like for example, availability of phosphorus is high within the pH range of 6 to 7.5. Important, because you have to know that at this pH 6 to 7.5, the phosphorus availability will be there. But if the pH is low, this phosphorus is going to precipitate. Precipitate means it is going to settle down. It is going to form some compound, and it is going to settle down in the soil, and it will be not available to the plant. Clear? So that is the optimum range for your phosphorus. Then metallic cation like iron, manganese, copper, zinc precipitate at high pH. Again, okay, at low pH, H ion is replaced by your potassium, and thus leaching can occur. Okay, agar we have low pH, your hydrogen ion will be replaced by potassium again, and this potassium will leach down, and again potassium is also another macronutrient which is important for crop growth and development. It will be not available to the crop, right? So these are few important things regarding your soil pH. Then we have biotic factor. Biotic factor include your plants as well as animals, right? So let's first see that how plants is affecting. So in plant there is complementary as well as competitive reaction. Sometimes we are doing intercropping, but what if there is a competitive reaction between these two crops? So ultimately the yield of both crop will be hampered, right? But if there is a complementary reaction, then the yield will be enhanced, right? So that is the one thing. Then competition between plant occur when there is demand of nutrient. Obviously competition kab hota hai? When there is a demand of nutrient, space, moisture and so on. Then when different crops of cereals, legumes, they are grown together, they will mutually benefit each other, because cereals ko kya chahiye? Cereals are nutrient exhaustive crop, while pulses are nutrient restorative crop. So what will happen? The pulses will restore the soil nutrient, and that nutrient will be taken up by the cereal crops. ठीक है? That is called as synergistic effect. Now there is competition between weed plants and our crop plants. Our weeds are the weed that is present in the field, that is also going to compete for the resources, for the nutrient, for the sunlight, for the moisture with our crop plants, right? Then we have some parasites like striga, which is a parasite of your sugarcane crop. So there are some parasitic plants also that are parasite on other crops. Like striga is one of the parasitic plant that parasites over sugarcane. Now if we have this striga in the sugarcane field, your sugarcane yield is going to be hampered. Okay? Sugarcane crop will be destroyed with this striga parasite plant. So that is how your plants, that is flora, is affecting the plant crop growth and development. Moving on to the animals. So soil fauna fauna means animals, okay? Flora means plants. So soil fauna like protozoa, nematodes, snails and insects help organic matter decomposition. We know that the organism that is present in the soil, all the animals that is present, like your protozoans, your nematodes, snails, these are the small animals, small insects that are living in the soil, and they are helping in decomposition process. Okay? Insects and nematodes can cause damage. Again, there are few fauna like your insects, nematodes, they can feed on this plant and they can harm our crop production. Then honeybee are very important for crop production. Why? Because they are pollinators. They help in pollination. Then browsing earthworm. Earthworm is improving aeration as well as it is decomposing the soil organic matter. Then large animals that are browsing animal like your cow, your cattle, goats, that can graze over your, that can feed over your crops as well as can damage your crop production. So that is how your flora and fauna is affecting crop production. Then we have physiographic factor. Physiographic factor include your topography. So the topography of that particular area, topography means what is the nature of surface of earth of that particular area, is going to affect the crop production of over that particular area, land. Then again altitude, what is the height? You might have seen that in higher altitude the vegetation is different and as compared to the lower altitude. Okay? So again that is due to the difference in altitude of both the places. Then we have steepness of the slope. Now if we have this slope, like for example there is a steep slope, so here the topsoil will be run off. Okay? This topsoil will be prone to the soil erosion, and आपकी जो fertile soil है that will run off to the lower slope, that is to the valley part. Okay, and what will happen here? The soil will not be fertile and there will be no vegetation, while here the soil will be fertile because all that topsoil that has been run off from this area has accumulated here. Now here the soil will be fertile and it will encourage more crop production. Next we have is exposure to light. Now you might have seen in mountains that as a particular slope has more vegetation while other slope do not have vegetation. The difference is due to exposure of light. Okay? Exposure of light and wind. Now if we have the direction of sun is from east to west, right? So it is recommended that the farmer should grow the crops in north-south direction, right? So it is recommended to grow crop in north-south direction because the sun will travel from east to west and more solar radiation will be more solar radiation will be provided to crop in such a way. So that is why this is the recommendation. Same goes with here. If there is any slope which is opposite to their east west direction, what will happen? There will be less solar radiation and there will be less vegetation. Clear? Next, chalo. Now that was regarding all your internal and external factors of crop production, and what is crop production, what are the different factors of crop production. So guys, now I have few questions for you. You have to solve this question, and after that I will be giving you one question, additional question, on which you can practice your answer writing. Okay? Chalo. So solve this question quickly. So which of the following is not an objective of tillage? Just quickly tell me the answer of this question. So to control the weed effectively, to aerate the soil, to provide adequate soil contact, to permit water flow to the seed and seedling, and to remove hard pan. So what will be the answer here? Okay, Jay Lakshmi, if the screen is not visible to you clearly, so I would request you to please download the PDF of this lecture, and you can read that. The content will be readable there. Okay? Okay. So very good. Everyone has given the right answer for this question. That is option E, none of the above. Okay? We have discussed this because through tillage we are effectively managing weeds. We are aerating the soil. Again, we are improving the aeration in the soil. Then we have permitting water flow for the seed germination, as well as we are removing hard pan for and increasing soil depth, right? So all these are correct. All these are correct. So answer will be none of the above. Chalo. Next question is, dash is the physical condition of soil obtained out of tillage. It is a result of tillage. Quickly give me the answer of this question, because I think this is the easiest of all. Okay, very good. Every one of you have given the right answer. That is option D, which is tilth. So tilth kya hai? Tilth is basically the optimum soil condition for physical soil condition that is obtained after tillage. Next question for you is, which of the following is not correctly matched regarding optimum environment condition? Okay? So regarding optimum environment condition, you have to tell me which of the following is not correctly matched. Temperature is 15 to 40 degrees Celsius. Wind velocity is 4 to 6 km per hour. Then PAR, that is photosynthetically active radiation, that is 400 to 700 nanometer. Just quickly tell me the answer here. So guys, what will be the answer for this question? Very good. Deepak, Jay Lakshmi, Sudarshan, Sadam, Brijesh, Vishal, Deepak, Manish. Okay. So very good. Answer will be none of the above. Okay? So guys, approx date for NABARD grade A result, I cannot I cannot say anything on that, because seriously talking, I don't have any idea कि कब होगा. Usually 15 to 20 days लगते हैं result आने में. So you can calculate accordingly कि 20 दिन के बाद आ ही जाएगा, 20 दिन या 20 दिन के बाद आ ही जाएगा result, right? Chalo. Next is, what is optimum temperature for rice production? Now you have to tell me optimum temperature for rice production. Just quickly give me the answer of this question. We have discussed regarding the cardinal temperature, right? Very good, Mohit. Very good, Brijesh. Okay. Very good, Manish, Jay Lakshmi, Amey, Deepak. Okay. Chandrakala, Shubham, Pooja Yadav, very good. So it is 32 degrees Celsius. Okay, just remember, optimum temperature for rice production is 32 degrees Celsius. Now, availability of phosphorus is highest in the pH range of. So at what pH range availability of phosphorus is highest? And we have discussed this point in the soil pH, right? In the soil pH point, we have discussed this. Okay, very good, Brijesh, Deepak. Profanity, Brijesh, Sudarshan, Manish, Mohit, Jay Lakshmi, Anu, Sridevi, Chandrakala, Vishal. Very good, everyone. that is 6 to 7.5. ठीक है, just remember the pH for phosphorus is 6 to 7.5. clear? चलो, now this is a practice question for you. You have to tell me the answer. I know this is the easy question I would say. I have discussed also, but still you have to answer in the comment box. ठीक है, you have to answer this question in the comment box. What is the answer of this question? So the moisture range between field capacity and permanent wilting point is known as. Not now, just answer this question in the comment box. And now guys, I want you all कि after watching this lecture, what you can do, you can just write an answer on your own words. ठीक है, after whatever we have discussed after this discussion, that what are the different factors that is affecting crop production. ठीक है, so that is the question for you. You can just sit and for half an hour you can frame an answer around whatever we have discussed so far, and practice descriptive answer also around this question, around this topic. ठीक है, चलो, so that was all from my side. Thank you everyone. If you have any query now, you can let me know. ठीक है, if there is anything which I have missed, you can let me know. Okay, Rahul, I do not get your question. Okay, so if you are trying to say that if we can do just plus minus with the optimum temperature, so that will not be correct. ठीक है, it's not like that. Minimum and maximum will be just plus minus above these data, above your optimum. ठीक है, so is there anything else? Okay, so I don't think now we have any query left, right? So guys, is there any thing you want to ask, or shall I leave? Shall I end the session? So Tarun, sorry, but I cannot change the timing of the class because this is the time allotted to me. Okay, so we cannot change. It is 2 p.m. So if you are not able to attend live class, what you can do, you can just watch the recordings as well. Okay, so anything else? So guys, is there anything else you want to ask? And I hope you have started preparing for phase 2, right? I hope आपका phase 1 अच्छा हुआ होगा, and now you have started preparing for phase 2. I would say don't wait for the result. अभी से prepare करना start कर लो. And so okay, how many question of ARD? So in phase 2C we have objective as well as we have subjective. ठीक है, so in objective we have 30 question, right? So you can expect that 15 to 16 question will be of ARD. ठीक है, इसमें से भी maximum will be of ARD static again. In subjective there are 6 question जिसमें से you have to do 4 question, and you can expect that 3 question will be from ARD. ठीक है, again, and 3 will be from ESI. Now guys, it's not any hard and fast rule कि 3 ARD से आएंगे 3 ESI से आएंगे. कुछ hybrid question भी हो सकते हैं, that will require the knowledge of ARD static as well as ESI static as well. ठीक है, so guys, if you have अगर आपकी typing speed कम है हमें, तो I would request you कि focus more on your descriptive part. ठीक है, आप जितनी typing कर सकते हो with that with the given time, that will be helpful for you. So Tarun, ऑब्जेक्टिव में कितना आता है? सो आई टोल्ड यू 30 क्वेश्चन, 30 मार्क्स ऑब्जेक्टिव के होंगे, उसमें से 15 to 16 क्वेश्चन ARD स्टैटिक ARD से होंगे, और उसमें से मेजरली होंगे आपके ARD स्टैटिक से. Dhanpal, I cannot say that they will be not useful. ARD reports से if phase 1 में क्वेश्चन नहीं आए थे, you can expect the question from in phase 2. ठीक है, ऑब्जेक्टिव पार्ट में I can say that you can expect question in phase 2. We cannot rely like that कि we cannot say that कि phase 1 में नहीं आए तो बिल्कुल ही phase 2 में नहीं आएंगे. So there is chances of ARD reports coming in phase 2. So is there anything else? Oh. So guys, is there anything else? Okay, So I think that's all for today's session. So tomorrow I'll be coming with the next class. Till then, you do your homework, practice the question, go through this topic once again, and revise all the important things. So that's all, students, from my side. Thank you for joining me here. Thank you so much. ओके मोहित से आई वुड से कि डरने से कुछ नहीं होगा. डोंट गेट स्केयर्ड कि फेज 2 में क्या होगा, कैसे होगा. आई वुड से फोकस मोर ऑन प्रैक्टिस, रिविजन. ठीक है, जितना ज़्यादा प्रैक्टिस करोगे, रिवाइज करोगे, मोर यू विल गेन द कॉन्फिडेंस. ठीक है, सो फॉर कॉन्फिडेंस आपको उतना रिविजन, उतनी प्रैक्टिस करनी पड़ेगी. चलो, सो दैट्स ऑल फ्रॉम माई साइड. थैंक